After a cost of service analysis was performed by our division, we determined that the fees that the septic haulers were paying to use the treatment facilities here were being subsidized by our residential and commercial sewer system users. Keep in mind that a septic system or septic tank user is not one of our customers. Our residential customers, for instance, they send us waste, which is about 250 milligrams per liter of BOD and suspended solids, and maybe 250 gallons per day. We receive over 5 million gallons of septic each day from private septic tanks, and that waste is as much as 40 times stronger than the waste that we get from our other customers. So the goal here was to make sure that those that use the facility for the disposal of septic tank waste or scavenger waste were not being subsidized, or their disposal costs were not being subsidized by our residential and commercial ratepayers.
Right now it's $10 a ton, it's going to $36 a ton. And say for example, a 1,500 gallon septic tank, that's 6 ton. And that's going to count up a lot. So we got to pass that on to the customers. And they're not going to be able to afford it, so they're not going to get their tanks cleaned regularly, and then it's going to cost them more money in the long run if they don't do regular maintenance on them. It's going to be less tanks to pump, so it'll be less income. So it's way too high.
Let me first say these fees have not been looked at in detail in more than a decade, and so as a result, the actual evaluation of them is long overdue. That is probably partially why there's such a large increase at this time. On the other hand, you could look at it this way. For that period of time, the septic haulers were getting a subsidy that they shouldn't have been getting, or the customers that use septic tanks were getting that subsidy. Keep in mind that septic system users, or those that have septic tanks, don't get a sewer bill like my residential customers do. And so again, trying to make sure that there's no cross customer class subsidy is important to the county commissioners.
1,000 gallon tanks, 4 ton, so it's $40. And bring that back to $10 a ton, they're going to 36. So you take 36 times 4, which is I think 144. And then if you got a 1,500 gallon, that's 6 tons, so it's going to be more. So that's going to drive the price way up, where people ain't going to be able to afford to get their tanks cleaned. Yeah, they just can't afford to get it done, so they're going to put it off. Then when they have a problem, it's going to cost them more, because they're probably running their drain fields or something.